Hello and thank you for coming. Today, we asked you to join us this afternoon to provide additional information regarding the homicide investigation from yesterday. Addressing you today will be Assistant Chief Jason Stilley. As usual, please hold questions until the end of the prepared comments, and we'll open it up for questioning then.
Thank you for coming. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Stilley, an Assistant Chief with the Lincoln Police Department. The purpose of the press conference today is to provide an update into the homicide that occurred late Tuesday evening, and also to announce the details of an arrest of Charles Alexander earlier today. Before getting into the details of the case, I want to offer my condolences to the victim's family and friends as they mourn her loss. In order to give some order to this press conference, I will provide general details into this homicide investigation, and then I'll open it up to any questions that you have. On Tuesday, September 20th at roughly 11:30 p.m., Lincoln police officers were dispatched to the area of West Allison Court and West Fairfield Streets on a person who had been stabbed. Officers arrived and located a 36-year-old female with serious injuries. Lincoln police officers and Lincoln Fire and Rescue personnel attempted life-saving measures on the victim, and that victim was transported to an area hospital where she has since died from her injuries. Charles Alexander, a male, 61 years of age, was identified as a suspect in this homicide. Investigators attempted to locate him for the next several hours as they sought an arrest warrant as well for Alexander. At approximately 10 a.m. this morning, Charles Alexander was located in the area of 11th and Lincoln Mall, where he was placed into custody without incident. Charles Alexander is being charged with second-degree murder and use of a deadly weapon to commit a felony. And while an arrest has been made, this investigation does continue. I want to stress that investigators continue to conduct interviews, analyze evidence, to determine timeline of events leading up to and following the stabbing, and also to determine the length and nature of the relationship that the victim had with Charles Alexander. And with that, I'll take any questions that you have.
Do you know what the relationship is at this time?
We knew that the victim knew Alexander, and we knew that Alexander knew the victim, but the length and nature of that relationship, we don't know. That's part of the investigation. But I will stress that this is less than 12 hours after the stabbing came in, so a lot of good investigative work was done to put a suspect in custody, and I want to stress that I'm very proud of the investigators and street personnel that handled this case.
Were they both living at that residence?
No.
One of them?
We believe that the victim had stayed there, and the suspect did not live at that residence.
Is Alexander from Lincoln?
He is a Lincoln resident.
Can you tell us, maybe preliminary, what you found so far in the investigation, what led up to this at this point?
Leading up to his arrest?
To the stabbing?
At this point, we don't know why the stabbing occurred. Certainly, that is a piece of this investigation, but what spurred the violence, we do not know.
What about the arrest? What led you to him?
So, again, witness accounts and some of the just good old-fashioned police work led us to Charles Alexander. We sought an arrest warrant for him, and then we began looking in places that we thought he may be. An officer for the Southwest team was driving by 11th and Lincoln Mall and noticed him, and again, he was taken into custody without incident.
Can you describe the extent of her injuries and if a weapon was recovered at the scene and what kind it might be?
A weapon was not recovered at the scene. We believe that it was a knife, but we are still looking for that knife, and she had injuries to her torso.
And are you still working to identify her family, or I guess why are you withholding the identity of her right now?
Right. So again, it's less than 12 hours. We've contacted one next of kin, and they've asked for just a little bit of time. As customary, we try to give them about 24 hours to grieve their loss, process, and notify family members. I think if it happened in your family, you would not want to see it on social media or in the news right away before a family member had the opportunity to reach out. So we're extending that courtesy to them.
Have there been any other sort of calls related to them as like a unit or as not a couple, or is their relationship any other calls made to that residence or places that they had been known to reside?
That is part of the investigation, and I think if we have any of those, that will give us an idea on nature and length of the relationship.
This came within 2 hours of another pretty violent act in Lincoln. What does that mean for your investigative team, and I guess how stretched thin are they?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. They always come to work and put their absolute best to everything that they're tasked with investigating, and these cases were no different. But it does, some violence and those that happened in rapid succession, it does tax the investigative team. They are holding up very well, and they continue to put the victims in these cases in the forefront of their minds and investigate every one of these cases as if it involved a member of their own family.
Is Alexander thought to have fled that area on foot or in car, or, he obviously wasn't there when you guys responded?
Yeah, we haven't got into the details of how he left. We just know that he left rapidly after the event. Where he went from there, we'll try to track that back, but it's a little early in the investigation to determine that yet. Any other questions?